gamers, real quick. It's not even an official episode. Is two things. The first is Sony just came out and said that they're now focused on a shift from physical to all digital, or to digital downloads on the beloved PlayStation 4. And it's ironic that I just talked about this in the previous episode, the future of video games. It really is. The irony is crazy. The truth comes out. It was a lot of gamers in denial. But whatever. Let's jump into this real quick. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. First off, in this article, and I'm not one of those people, like I said before, that jump on it, just that the hidden just stuck out to me. Like, I just talked about this before this even was like, yo, it's like taking candy from a baby. I know it's a weak cliche, but it is. In this article, Andrew House, if you're a Sony fan, you should know who he is. I'm not going to go into all that. Came out and said that the move from physical to digital is going to make people leave PlayStation 3 and go to PlayStation 4. Where'd he get the logic for that? Andrew House, what up? What are you talking about? Smart gamers they ain't going nowhere. A smart gamer is not gonna leave PlayStation 3 for PlayStation 4. The features is not there. They added the music player with the flash drive. I'm not gonna get into that either. That's a whole nother topic. The fact of the matter is, if you looking at the two on a balancing scale, whatever you want to, the scales of justice, the two don't balance out. PlayStation 3 is still tipping the scale over PlayStation 4. I won't get into that either. Let me just see stuff like this, man. I be jumping from thought to thought. Let me focus on what it is I really want to talk about, which is this digital fixation. In this article, he says it himself, which I said again in the future of video games. If you haven't checked that episode out, go check it out. I said the industry wants an all digital future. It's one thing for me, I see VR games, they have to be digital. I hate to say that, but they have to be. Just for the amount of data that is required, that is gonna, theoretically, is gonna be required to run the processes of said games. I don't think that the media, matter of fact, I know the current media we have, the Blu-ray, which is the greatest media that can hold 100 gigabytes, from what we've been told, 100 gigabytes of data. I say VR games is way beyond that. I say, a 200 gigabyte VR game, I would say that's a demo. A small indie VR game, I would say that would probably be about maybe 400 gigabytes. A full VR game, I say at the minimum it would be is probably about 800 gigabytes. You got to think about the worlds that VR needs to create, and for it to be as realistic as possible. You can't have no halfway mediocre VR game. It's just VR games is going to cost too much to make. So they have to be on point the first time they're made. But back to what Andrew House was saying. He says in that article that this is a digital era. And I've said that already. About the PS4, for the PS4 owners or those looking to get a PS4 or whatever that don't want to admit it, you're already in an all digital era. This 8th generation is all digital. The simple fact that you have to, it's mandatory that you have to install the game itself onto your hard drive makes it digital. There's no way logically you're going to tell me that's not a fact. That's a fact. Why do you think Andrew House said it? You're already, like I said, you're already in an all digital era. I said that in the future of gaming episode. My whole thing is, like I said, man, I want gamers to open their eyes and stop like just listening to what the corporations is saying. I ain't saying don't support them, because it's a video gaming is a form of entertainment. It's a great form of entertainment. To keep it real, it keeps a lot of kids out of trouble. Even though for as much as it's criticized like, yo, it's violent, the video games are too violent, and it's keeping kids out of trouble. Any media or negative press that video games get from, let's say, for a while back, they tried to blame video games for a kid killing his parents or his mom or something like that. And that's the fault of the parents. That's not the fault of the video game industry. You know what I'm saying? It's up to the parents to monitor what their child gets. And if I'm not mistaken, that child's mom, the same one he shot, is the one that bought him the game in the first place. Like, she ain't checked. That's what ratings is for. That's what the ESRB is for. So that's not the fault of the video game industry. That's the fault of the parent. Now, enough of that. This all digital movement, it's gonna happen. Like, I've seen posts where gamers say, yo, physical copies is never gonna die. Wrong. They already working on that. Here's my thing about the industry going all digital. And it's something that, besides smart gamers, because we know this, like, we like, nah, man, we don't support it. We don't buy day one digital games at $59.99. And I was thinking about it, the special edition joints. Like, I'm not going to pay $100 for a digital game, something intangible. That's what this comes down to. For the simple fact, as somebody pointed out in a post on a website, a gaming news website, they don't have to pay for packaging. They don't have to pay for shipping. They don't have to pay for storage, shelf space, or distribution. They left that out. Shipping is one thing. I'm talking about worldwide distribution. Shipping is like, they send a shipment here or whatever. That's not technically, I guess you could put both of them in the same classification, but I wouldn't do that. Distribution is like them sending the game worldwide. But the point is, there's no cost to them for the digital besides paying the fee to whatever platform they're going to. So they might have to pay a fee to Sony to put it on PlayStation Network. Same for Xbox Live. But beyond that, there's no great expense to them. So the game, like I said, again, in the future of video gaming, should be half of what the retail copy costs. Then I could see like, yo, okay, it's, if you want to get the digital copy, you saving some. But that's not the case. And that's the thing about and I put it like this. a lot of people, a lot of physical copy gamers that prefer physical copies, they feel like digital is not booming. It's not, it's not doing anything. But it is. It's evident that from this article, he is talking about profits. It all comes down to money, as does most things in this world. It's lucrative. People are buying those day one digitals because if they weren't, they would have did one or two things. One, they would have discounted the games. I'm not talking about flash sales or nothing like that. I'm talking about actually discounted these newer releases to try to get some sales. They haven't done that. Or two, the day one digital and them offering AAA games altogether would have been eradicated. People are buying those. They have a audience, or they have consumers that are buying those day one digitals. Not smart gamers, but they don't care. Like that's what they're looking for. The minute you start thinking about what you spending your money on, is the minute you will realize, like, yo, it's not worth it to buy a day one digital. I can't hold that game. I can't. It ain't about people to say it's about you being able to trade in your copy. It ain't about that. You do have that group of gamers that once they beat the game, they will take it and go get store credit or whatever, or maybe even sell it to a friend or something to make some, some extra bucks to go towards another game. But that's not the issue here. The issue is, if the video game industry is able to eradicate physical copies, it's a domino effect. It ain't just an eradication of physical copies. You're getting rid of game stores, game sections in stores. Like, automatically, GameStop is gone. The game section in Best Buy, gone. That means a loss of jobs. The economy is already messed up. That would just add to it becoming worse. So, I see it like that. The video game industry is not going to see it like that. It's a win-win for them. Because in the end, they still make money. If you want to play the game that the publisher is selling, you got to buy it digitally at their price. You're no longer going to see discounts. Basically, it's going to become a monopoly. If they can shut down physical copies being sold, they no longer have to ship physical copies. It's a monopoly. Plain and simple. That means you will have to buy the digital copy at $59.99. It's restricted to the console that is downloaded on. See, that's another great thing about the 5th and 6th generation. Physical copies that you could take to your friend's house and pop in the memory card, play a game over your friend's house. You can't do that no more. 7th generation. If the game was a digital game, is installed on your console, PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, you would have to take your whole console to your friend's house. You couldn't go over your friend's house and download it to your friend's console, because they restricted it to 2 consoles. It used to be 5, but now it's 2. So you can't do that no more. For PlayStation 4, because this is what he's talking about. Like, yeah, PlayStation 3 users is going to move to PlayStation 4. You definitely can't do that. Like I already said, when you rip that PS4 game to your hard drive, that's it. You can't rip it again at your friend's house. So if you take that disc over your friend's house and pop it in, nothing's gonna happen. How does that feel? Like, especially for the long-time PlayStation gamers. I ain't talking about new PlayStation players. I'm talking about to go from PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, where you could take your game over your friend's house and pop it in and start playing, to go to PlayStation 4, where you can't do that. What is going through y'all mind, like, to support a console like that? Or not call Sony out on that? Yo, like I said, man, it's crazy. But enough about that, man. I said it was they were aiming for an all digital future. This is my proof. It's from the source themselves. It's from Sony. Internal. It's from them internally saying this. As a follow-up to my future video gaming episode, some questions came about. I'm not going to mention names, but I felt they were questions worth me taking the time to answer. So I'll go ahead and do it while I do this, it's on the topic of digital anyway, so I might as well go ahead and answer these questions. The first question. Now, this is in regards to, like I said, the future video gaming episode. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. The first question is, you had issues with Microsoft's policy about being always online, but you don't have an issue with VR games being always online. Why? Simple answer, man. It's a difference between dictatorship or being forced to be online and your choice. You would choose to be online for a VR game. You're not being forced. Some people might say like, yo, nah, man, if you say it's always online, then you're being forced. Like, you have to go online to play the VR game. No, you don't. It's your choice to go online to play that VR game. You're not being forced like Microsoft was forcing you for the Xbox One. The 24-hour check-in. Matter of fact, I don't care about Microsoft at all. Let me just keep that. I don't care about Microsoft at all. I'm not a Xbox gamer. That's not to say I hate Xbox gamers and Xbox fans. I don't. They gamers just like we PlayStation gamers. It's the fact of what Microsoft was trying to do with their customers that I didn't like. Like, how you gonna try to control the people that support you? You can't do that. That's the same. If Sony had it, it would have been a backlash for them too. A lot of Xbox, I'll call them zealots. A lot of Xbox zealots claim it's a double standard. It's not a double standard. If Sony had came out and said like, yeah, you have to be online always, or the 24-hour check-in, or whatever else Microsoft was trying to do to force gamers to be online, Sony would have got 8. For real. It wouldn't have been no okay, pass, go, collect $400. No. The Sony fans would have got at him. But yeah, like I said, it's a difference between dictatorship and choice. Plain and simple. Like, besides, that's where society as a whole is hidden. And I'll get to that in another question. Matter of fact, question number 2. So, question number 2 is, why do you think VR games will be online only? Okay, man. VR games will be online only for a few reasons. Like I mentioned, earlier in this quick little broadcast, the Internet of Everything. If you don't know about it, you could look it up online. It's a stock in the stock market. And what it is saying that it's a stock that is based on a theory, which is going to happen. That almost everything in your house is going to be online. Washing machines, stoves. Think of it like OnStar. Like if something's wrong with it, whatever manufacturer of the appliance or whatever will be able to tell that and either send a repair crew out if you got it under warranty or whatever, or repair it from their headquarters or something. That's me on some super technological trip. I really don't think that's possible for them to repair it without some manual labor. But yeah, Internet of Everything. So essentially, an entire house would be online, from like security alarms to the front door or whatever, as I had seen it originally. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason was it was a claim that the current 8th gen consoles were not powerful enough or fast enough, or they couldn't read game data fast enough, which is the reason that the discs have to be ripped to the hard drives. And I don't think that's true, man. And if that is the case, the console is essentially useless. With a physical console, we talking about hardware that cannot read hardware. So I don't see how people say that games are software. It's hardware. You put it in the console, it runs in the console, or supposed to run inside the console, like PlayStation 2, PlayStation. It's hardware. It's tangible, so it's hardware. I consider it hardware. The actual source code is software. You can't touch. Look, you can't touch software. It's intangible. So, I guess you could say that a game disc, a physical game disc, is both. It's both hardware and software. I'm not going to just say it's software, because I can touch the disc that the data is contained on. Current society interaction. Like you hear a lot of people say, yo, let's meet on Skype, or let's do a Google Hangout or something like that. It's rare to see face-to-face interaction, so automatically I know that's where the internet is hidden. That's where society is hidden. Where you, like on some, you could talk to a hologram of your friend, or something like on some, Star Trek type stuff. Not saying you can beam a person, but that's where technology is hidden. It's no longer like, face-to-face interactions, two people sitting down, having dinner, talking about something. Those days are almost all but gone. Like, you catch two people on Skype or whatever, eating a meal, talking about something. Eating, having some snacks, talking about something. And in some cases, it's justified, because if your friend is halfway across the world, on the other side of the world, you can't sit down and talk with them face to face. So that's legit. But if your friend lives in the same state as you, not too far from where you live at, or y'all, y'all got cars or whatever, and you can't drive to meet them? For real? Like, or y'all can't go out and do something together? That's just society. Like, the shift in society is what I see VR games being. Like, The same way that they got what is it? The social MMO. I can't think of the name of it. The World, just like PlayStation 3 had Home. VR is definitely going to have one of those, where you're in a virtual world with millions of people when VR becomes affordable, and you can, become friends in this virtual world with avatars and all that stuff or whatever. It's going to happen, you know it. I can't think of the MMO. It's something World or something like that, and it's what Home was supposed to be modeled after. Somebody will know what I'm talking about. But yeah. And then you gotta, everything is instant. Instant. You will want your VR game instant. Or the experience instantly. And you gotta think about them streaming video and music. And now video games. Question number 3 is, why do you hate digital so much? I kind of answered this already, man. Like, I don't hate digital. Like, it's just how the video game industry is using it. Like I said, publishers want all digital so they can claim full price for every digital game download. And it's really in response to the used games. Claim that the publishers don't make any money from used games, and they want money for every copy sold, even if it's a resold copy, basically a used copy. They want money for that too. And it's not right, man. If somebody bought the game at full price originally, brand new, and then decided to trade it in or sell it or whatever, the publisher no longer has any rights to those funds. That's like somebody buying a brand new car and then selling it. Not trading it in, selling it. Or even trading it in. Trading it into a dealership in order to get money or to get another vehicle. Or selling it to somebody. Does the car manufacturer deserve another take from trading it in or selling it to somebody? No, they don't. And they don't do that. Car manufacturer, only the initial sale. That's where they get their money from. And it is the same for publishers. The initial sale is what publishers, that's your take. Once somebody buy it and decide to trade it in or sell it, that's their choice. They own that copy of the game. I'm tired of hearing I'm tired of seeing these licensing agreements where they saying you leasing the game or you renting the game. No, I'm not. If I bought a game, it's my copy of that game. We don't own the source code. I give them that. Like, we don't own the source code to the game. We own a physical copy of it. So now we can't sell the game as our own. We can't take resources from it and make our own game and call it our own. We can't make copies of the game. So that's it though. Anything else, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk about it too, the licensing agreement thing. So I won't go into what I was gonna say. Let me move on, man. And then the whole thing about them wiping out the physical game sector, like, that's a lot of jobs lost. It's a lot of, you know what I'm saying, people that work hard in the video game physical sector. And then the monopoly thing, like I said, man. And real quick about that, I see some people will say, like, it's discounts on digital games. Yeah, it's discounts on digital games to compete with the physical copy. They want you to get the digital copy. That raises the graph by which they go by, they say that digital downloads is becoming increasingly more popular than physical copies. See, everything, yo. Come on, man. Question number 4. Well, it ain't really a question. The person is making a statement. You can't be sure that VR games will be online only. No way. At present, yes, I can. Due to Sony streaming PlayStation Now. They're streaming games to you, whereas it's supposed to be, or it should be, backwards compatibility. They're streaming these games to you. An entire history of PlayStation is on PlayStation Now. From PlayStation 1 to 2 to some of 3, mostly PlayStation 1 and 2. They remove backwards compatibility altogether, when usually they give you it. PlayStation 2 could play PlayStation. I've already talked about this in Console Wars. And PlayStation 3, when they got, I don't even want to say midway, 80 gig, it could play PlayStation 2 games, or some. PlayStation 3 can play PlayStation 1 games. PlayStation 4 can't. It can't play the CD games of PlayStation. I've already talked about it, so I'm not even going to dwell on that. And then, thanks for listening. Peace.